Joining us, Congressman Bob Goodlatte, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and the chairman and his committee have had a busy day indeed. Good to have you with us. Let's start with the lawsuit resolution. John Boehner has the authority now to express support of his conference as well as the House to move ahead. What happens next?
Well, what happens next is that sometime in the next couple of months, a lawsuit will be filed and served on the executive branch, asking the courts to step in and rule on which has the authority to legislate, the legislative branch, the Congress, or the President of the United States, who has taken his pen and his cell phone and rewritten many laws, one of which is the more than 40 changes he's made to Obamacare. This is a carefully targeted lawsuit to ask the court to give standing when one entire body of the Congress, in this case the House, votes to say that their legislative authority is being trampled on, and the court should step in and decide who it is that has the power to take these actions.
Now, some Democrats, as you know, Mr. Chairman, are saying that this is a prelude to impeachment proceedings. Any truth to that?
The truth is that the Congress has a number of powers that it can pursue in the checks and balances, and this is one that has, in my opinion, been neglected. And it is a way to resolve the dispute. An impeachment action would not resolve this dispute, as has the power to take the particular actions that the President has been taking over these last many months.
Let's turn to an area in which you have been a remarkable leader, if I may say, on the issue, and that is illegal immigration and a response to it. The White House today saying it will veto that $659 million border crisis bill that the Republicans are putting forward. How do you respond?
Well, I think it's ridiculous. This is a crisis, as you noted earlier in the program, that is created by this administration, by the President taking his pen and his phone and creating administrative legalizations that are now being advertised down in Central America and saying if you too come to the United States and enter the country, they're going to let you stay. And the President has a whole host of things that he could do right now without any legislative action to solve that problem, starting with simply saying over and over again that if you come to the United States illegally, you're going to be sent home, so don't waste your money, don't risk your life. Secondly, he could stop doing these administrative actions. Thirdly, he could allow greater access to federal lands. He could call out the National Guard. We have a long list on the Judiciary Committee's website of things that people can read the President do right now. But if he did them, if he was enforcing the law, as he's not doing right now, he would find that he needs some more money to send people home and to detain people and not allow them to be released into the interior of the country. And he would find that there are some tweaks to current law that he would need to have to fully enforce it. That's what this bill is all about, that we intend to pass through the House tomorrow to show that we're doing our job even if the President is not doing his.
Fundamentally, the dispute between Congress and the President is over whether or not he will ever enforce laws, particularly immigration laws. He's made it clear he will not. He will further slow, if not end, deportations altogether. There is every indication he wants to create amnesty, de facto amnesty, if not actual amnesty, for as many as 5 million illegal immigrants. We are on the verge of watching a president, are we not, Mr. Chairman, basically subvert the law, in this case, Section 13, it is U.S. Code Section 1325, which requires that a person be punished and that the laws be enforced for illegal entry into this country, punished, by the way, by a fine as well as imprisonment. We have reached a point where this is, people use the expression, at various times I've thought rather recklessly, but this is a president who is absolutely lawless in the sense he will not enforce the laws as required by the Constitution of the United States.
We do have a president who, in a whole host of different areas, not just immigration, not just Obamacare, but enforcing our drug laws, our environmental laws, the laws regarding the disclosure of negotiated deals with regard to the release of suspected terrorists. All of these things are matters where the president is exceeding his authority, and that's why it's important for the Congress to stand up and use all of the various checks that we have against the president in a situation like this that can be effective. And I believe that this lawsuit, which could take a long time and certainly has no certain outcome, is an important one, not just for this president, but for presidents following afterwards. Because if this president can do the things that he's doing now, he and the future and other presidents who follow behind him will think they can do anything at all, and will render the Constitution of little meaning, and the legislative branch will go into a death spiral. We have to have a clear delineation of this authority, and that's why we're bringing the lawsuit.
A lawsuit, as you say, of an uncertain outcome, and certainly what will be a lengthy process. No one knows where on the calendar that resolution, whatever it might be, would be reached in our judicial system. Meanwhile, we have midterm elections. We have a president who's ruling by fiat, a man who is ruling, not governing, and that wasn't contemplated by our founders and those who crafted this Constitution. Is there any realistic response?
Elections have consequences.
I'm sorry?
Elections, I was just saying, elections have consequences. We're suffering the consequences of some past elections, and so I hope that this will be an election that clarifies some of these issues, because if, for example, the president's party no longer controlled the United States Senate, I think that there would be a more effective check on this abuse that he's using, because right now we have 352 bills over in the Senate, one of which makes it easier to get the courts to decide these cases and expedites the amount of time it takes to get a decision from the courts. But guess what? That's sitting on Harry Reid's desk along with more than 350 other bills. And so, again, if we were able to take the next step and pass some of these bills that have passed the House also through the Senate and then put them on the president's desk, he might sign some of them, but even if he didn't, it would clearly spell out for the American people what needs to be done and what is not being done, and at the highest level show the differences between the two approaches that are being taken here. One, a legislative approach that says the Congress represents the people on these issues, and a president who says, if you don't do it, I will, even though he can't cite the authority to do it.
The problem, one of the problems here, though, Mr. Chairman, is that your Speaker, the leader of the Republican Party and the House of Representatives, has made it clear on alternate points over the course of the past year that he would go along with the president on comprehensive immigration reform. He has bemoaned the fact that many in his own conference didn't have, he mocked their lack of courage in taking on the issue. Your own Speaker, and now here we are with a defining moment in the midterms. Are the Republicans clearly so different than the president when your Speaker is embracing the very law that so many conservatives and I think many of your membership say they wouldn't have anything to do with? Because they don't trust the man, they don't trust him on the issue, and they want a secure border.
Well, it's absolutely important that we make it very clear that while we do need to have immigration reform, it needs to be done in a step-by-step fashion, building the trust of the American people, and starting with enforcing the law, securing our borders, and making sure that we have the necessary new laws that will make sure that people don't get jobs who are not entitled to those jobs, and make sure that people in the interior of the country who are here unlawfully are not allowed to stay. And I think that there is a very clear majority in the House that wants to accomplish that, and that's what we're about doing. I think the Speaker of the House has been listening to those voices.
Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. Congressman Bob Goodlatte.
Thank you, Lou.
Chairman of the House Judiciary